So there's a problem that we homeschoolers or we moms in general have that won't be solved with the next homeschool planner. We think it will. We tend to think, oh, our homeschooling problems will be solved when we get the perfect planner. Our homeschooling problems will be solved when we get a homeschool room. Our homeschooling problems will be solved, even any motherhood problems, if we'd have a bigger house. Now, I'm guilty of some of these excuses, but these are not valid excuses. They are not the root issue. And here's I want to share with you today how to be able to overcome this problem of inconsistency and of being unable to advance in your homeschool or your motherhood. So, my name is Melinda. I'm a homeschool mom of 4 young children, ages 8 to almost 3. And my family and I, we live in Costa Rica. Our homeschool year is February to November, so we've just started a few weeks ago. And homeschooling has been going really well this year. But for background, I went to school a couple of years to private school, and was homeschooled most of my years. I taught in school before getting married and helped homeschooling families, and now homeschool my own children. And this year, I feel like I've come upon a secret that I hadn't, I had sort of known, but I hadn't set in stone. And so that's part of what I want to share with you today. Before we go on, if this is homeschooling help is what is down your line, then please subscribe and leave me a comment below if you have any questions. I would love to answer them promptly as soon as I'm able to. And also, I wanted to mention that I teach other moms how to homeschool and how to overcome overwhelm. And I have a community for moms off of social media. So the link for that is below, and you're welcome to join if any of that would interest you. Now, the thing I want to share about is consistency and how sometimes little is better than more as long as you do it consistently. So I mentioned that in one of my other videos where I mentioned motherhood, comparing it to a marathon or marathon training or to running training. And the thing is that it consistency builds your strength, the same as for running and anything else. Now, what do we homeschool moms have a problem with? We think that our problems about our school not getting done, whatever, would be solved with some other outside thing. But usually it's us and our self discipline that is the biggest thing in the way. And when I realized that last year sometime, and now for this year, I decided to start day one of homeschool. Well, day one was kind of special activity, so not exactly to explain this rule. But from day two on, and we're 3 weeks in at the time of this recording, when my girls step into our schoolroom, our school area, the first thing they're supposed to do, and I taught them and I was consistent with it, they go and sit down at their desks, my second and third grader, and they pull out their math books. Now, it might sound a little bit military. Some people might not like it, but it's not. I'm not going to beat them up if they don't, but I'm training them that. And our school days go so well. We're 3 weeks, we're done with 3 weeks. They're done with 15 lessons of math because they did one every day. Now, they were consistent, and whenever they start getting distracted and playing, and so if it's my issue if I let things slide and so on. But if I pull them back to it, they're getting into such a habit of it that sometimes I'm distracted by something else or talking with someone, and they know at the time they go pull out their math books and get started. They don't need to wait for me to tell them what to do. And we do that every day, every day. And as soon as they're done, they do their language arts. Now, we don't always manage everything I would like. I would like to do more science, more study, more unit studies, and we do some. But this consistency is paying off. Their math facts are getting better. I know by the end of the year they'll be done with their grades worth of math. And for me, that is important, unless some major accident or emergency or something comes up. But they're getting done, and it's consistently. And for me, often I see I could easily let things slide instead of saying, okay, at 8:20 we head for school. No, I could say, no, I want to do this first. And on days when I do get distracted and work on something else, it tends to make everything get behind. So here's my encouragement: you can have any old planner, but make a plan and be consistent with it, and make it little is better than more in this case, because if you make too big of a plan, you can't do it, you get overwhelmed and you quit completely. If you have a simple plan, if you're struggling with overwhelm, and in my humble opinion, and I'm not saying I'm right in everything, math and language arts or reading are the two most important subjects. You decide to be consistent with that no matter how big a mess is in the house, well, you have to decide your priorities, and for me, school is a priority. Most days we get the house cleaned up before we go, but if we don't because we got late because of whatever, well, the priority is getting school done. So we have to leave, even if the house is still a mess, even if the laundry isn't done before then, isn't hung out. We have to leave and go to school. And it's the consistency. And I see the results in school. It can apply to every area of life. Let's say you're maybe not struggling with homeschool, but you're struggling with getting the dishes done. Another area I'm teaching my girls consistency is, and it's work, and it's been hard training because I've had to train myself first to stick after it, is that they each have their part of dishes that they have to do at each meal. Like one of them washes, one of them empties the tray, and one of them clears the table. And always, they're still young enough, I have to go after them and help finish up the details, but they do a lot already. But I'm trying to make the rule that when they get up, they have to go and do their dishes. And trying to be after it consistent. Now, I was the kind that was kind of lazy with that. And so they'd end up whatever, going playing. I'd end up going somewhere. And the dishes would get done later. And it just made everything more behind. So that's one thing I've been working on, teaching them. And tell when you keep training them, and I'm not going to go and give them I'm not going to go yell at them or give them a beating for not doing it. No, I go and call them. And I'm consistent with calling them. And when I see that they do it, I praise them. I remind them that that's the goal, and it becomes a muscle. It's becoming a muscle slowly. I'm seeing that when they get up from the table, it their body moves them to the dishes. Still not consistently, but the biggest part is for us moms to train ourselves. And so, if there's things where you're struggling and you just need consistency, no other planner will teach you consistency. You can have a lousy little planner. You can have whatever. And if you're consistent, in another area, I'm applying it to homemaking, motherhood, and homeschooling because it all kind of gets mixed together. For me, another area I realized I've been working on getting decisions out of my mind. So laundry, for example, instead of deciding what to do each day, every day I do laundry. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and maybe Saturdays, I just do the regular wash. Tuesdays is always towels. Thursdays is always rugs. And I've had that almost ingrained so deeply that I don't need to ever think and decide, and I can just be consistent with it. Of course, once in a while one can't for some reason, but then the next day one catches up and one's back on track. So I've been realizing there's something I'm missing out on is having a consistent time for doing bedding. I haven't got that figured out, but as I've been thinking on which day could I put in bedding, in what order. Like, let's say I want to do all the beds every week, so which room gets done one week and then the next week the other, and just like that, but to be consistent. And I know that would help. And so it's those little things. It's how do you, anything you can figure out to be consistent routine wise. Some of us, if you want to be a successful homeschool mom, I think you have to learn. Some people, I know I thrive more on routine, some do on less, but I do think that it's good for anyone to learn consistency. Whether it doesn't matter if your school starts at 8 or at 10 or at 2 in the afternoon, but consistently. I think that's the biggest trick. Not when or how or why or all the details, just consistent. Every day, well, every weekday for school. Every day you do what you have to, and you will advance. So thank you for listening. If you have any questions or any more comments about consistency, or any correction, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I invite you to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.